One of the key tenets of Marvel Snap is that there are only 12 cards allowed in a deck. This distinguishes Marvel Snap from other games like Hearthstone, which allows 30 or sometimes 40, or Magic the Gathering, which allows 60. In theory, the best way to play a game like Marvel Snap is to have the minimum amount of cards in your deck. But what if we could throw that theory entirely out of the water? Yes, we are playing a 33 card Marvel Snap deck with a 60+% win rate in top infinite. Let's get started. Arishem has been a relevant piece of Marvel Snap on and off basically ever since it was released. The recent revamp to Thanos, allowing Thanos to start in your hand, actually provides a fairly reasonable pairing with Arishem with several notable overlaps. First things first, the stones are not really bad draws in Arishem, which often has the ability to use these stones as curve fillers when it has extra energy available. That happens fairly often since Arishem is extremely clunky. Getting through to cards that actually matter is important in a deck like this. Second, Thanos itself is actually a little bit better when you're not locked to playing it on turn 6. You can even play turn 4 Thanoses when you are able to do things like play the Time Stone beforehand, and then on your turn 4 you have 5 energy. Sometimes you even play turn 3 Thanoses. You'll notice that Wave is in this deck, and actually Wave Thanos Arishem is kind of a secret hidden combo here. Wave on turn 2 means that you'll be able to play Thanos because you'll have 4 energy, but your opponent won't be able to use that wave at all. So you get to play a 3/5 on turn 2, and then a 10 power card on turn 3 with very little downside. Now, obviously, there are a lot of different cards in this deck, and you won't be able to execute these combos all of the time. But the fact that there is this overlap is meaningful. The final overlap is, of course, Mockingbird. Mockingbird already goes in both of these decks as both key heavily off of created cards. Created cards discount Mockingbird. That is obviously a very powerful thing to do. This deck as a whole is an absolute clown fiesta. I have not had as much off-the-wall fun with basically any deck that I've played in an extremely long time. If you want varied, unique, and weird experiences in Marvel Snap, this deck will give it to you. It is weird, there has never really been anything like it, and it has unique and powerful upsides that no other deck would even dream of doing. I especially enjoy the wave bit, because the guaranteed Thanos in your opener means that every time you get an early wave, you are dropping something big. I think that's sick. I remember doing a video on Arishem before he came out and speculating that wave would be a very important part of it, and that never ended up really coming to fruition until now. This deck has everything, and I mean that literally. Your opponents have absolutely no idea what to play around. Yes, we are running tech cards in here, and we are running cards that are good in Thanos decks in here, and we are randomly generating cards in here, and it is just very difficult on the whole for your opponent to understand what they should be trying to deal with at any given time. However, that does not mean this deck is without weaknesses. It is ultimately a bit of a mishmash of just cards, right? This is not the kind of thing that goes very far over the top. So when you run into decks like Moon Girl decks or Bounce decks, they tend to be able to actually just outpoint you and not be very worried about what it is you're actually trying to do. This deck has some issues with decks that are built to explode in terms of power. Even decks that aren't normally considered the top of the top when it comes to stuff like that, like Destroy and Discard, can simply just have more power than you are able to have. The upside here is you are able to do very dangerous, very powerful things very early in the game, but if they don't line up properly into what your opponent is doing, you don't really have a lot of recourse against turn 6 point explosions. You have Eliath, and that's kind of it. You're very rarely going to be able to accurately throw priority in order to make your Shadow King and Shang-Chi excellent turn 6 options, and honestly, there are a lot of decks that are able to dodge one or both of those anyway. And of course, you are a 33 card deck. It's not that likely that you get them in the first place. So with all of that said, what is the appeal? Why would you play this deck? Well, the main reason is that it's quite good into other sort of mid-rangey piles. The more focused a deck is, I think the worse this gets against it. But this is a deck that is able to, if your opponent is playing a deck that cares about like gradually scaling up points throughout the game, It's going to be very hard for them to deal with Wave Thanos. It's going to be hard for them to deal with stuff like that. You have a lot of interesting location control options. Reality Stone has won me plenty of games here. There are powerful things to be doing with this card and with this combination of cards. And of course, you are generally going to be able to have decent matchups into those mid-range decks that you can simply outpower, whether that be with Wave Thanos, whether that be with free Mockingbirds, whether that be with just big numbers. However you want to do it, you do have pretty good game into them, unless they're able to flip it on you, maybe with an Anti-Venom, maybe with a Wiccan, maybe with a Hazmat to hit all of the stuff that's all over your board. There are pretty defined weaknesses here, but the thing that keeps this deck going especially is just that it's going to be doing something unfair. And it's a question of whether or not that's going to be unfair enough. The more focused your opponent is on getting the maximum point output out of their deck, the harder it is going to be for you to win. However, this is pretty early in the metagame, and I think this deck has a real chance to succeed as a very powerful option right now, and I encourage you to play it while you can, because honestly, this was a blast. Talking about specific card choices in a deck that is playing so many randomly generated cards, this is not going to matter as much as it will in other decks, because a lot of what you're making is randomly generated. That said, there is some things that you could probably pick up from how we're going to talk about each of these cards. The first thing that you can pick up can be picked up from Shadow King and also from Shang-Chi. Having tech cards that blow your opponent out is really important. Even if you're not drawing them that much, you need to be able to put the fear of God in people. People need to be afraid of you, and you need to be able to actually answer some of the things that are otherwise hard for this deck to answer. Will it do it reliably? No. Will it be very valuable when it does it because your opponent won't know what to play around? Yes. We're still an Arishem deck. There is no way we're not playing Agent Coulson. Agent Coulson on 2 has been one of the defining cards in Arishem, and of course we're going to keep doing that. Agent Coulson on 2 is joined in this list by Wave on 2 as an extreme power play. I'd honestly say Wave on 2 is a little bit better, and part of what Thanos being in the deck gives us is that now we have effectively a second Agent Coulson as a major power play that allows us to play card on 2, card on 3, really start curving out, getting into that sort of end game. Good 3s on 2 is kind of the name of the game here. It feels to me like this deck is weaker when you aren't doing things early. If you're skipping turn 1 and turn 2, that's a problem, but you're usually going to have stuff to do late. Part of that is Thanos starting in your hand. Part of that is generally we're playing a lot of big stuff. And part of that is just like it's a little bit easier to have a big thing in hand than it is to have an early thing at the right time. And so for that reason, there's a pretty heavy focus on what our early curve plays are going to be. Is Copycat as good as Coulson? Probably not. Is Copycat as good as Wave? Definitely not. But is she still pretty damn good? Absolutely. Wave is a monster in this deck because you're guaranteed a Thanos. You can play a turn 2 Wave, 5 points, and then a turn 3 Thanos, and your opponent doesn't get any upside off of that Wave. You literally just get a 15-point card on the board by turn 3. That's awesome. That's just a really, really, really strong play, and all you need to do is draw Wave by then. It's great. You got to put the fear into people. You just have to do it. Shang-Chi matters a ton in this deck. It is a very important card to get onto the board, and frankly, you are going to need to play this card if you want to play a deck like this. Part of what makes Arishem decks so dangerous is that people simply don't know what to play around. You need to have these tech cards in there because drawing any one of them can make a matchup go from very bad to very good very fast. You'll sort of notice a through line here. Basically, every card we have to run has to be hyper impactful. Everything has to be extremely efficient or an extremely powerful tech card because we're only drawing so many of our own cards. And that means our cards need to matter a lot. One really easy way for your cards to matter is for them to just be really freaking big. Cull Obsidian is really freaking big. Blue Marvel is not a card found in typical versions of the Arishem deck. However, this card is excellent in Thanos decks, and that synergy has continued here. One of the things I have found problematic in typical Arishem decks is my lack of ability to attack multiple locations late in the game. Blue Marvel really does help with that. This is a card that is often playing a lot bigger than it is. I will note that if you want to substitute this card for Devil Dinosaur, I think that is perfectly acceptable. A big guy, your hand is very often full in this deck. It makes a lot of sense to try to get a Devil Dino in here. I personally was not able to because I prefer Blue Marvel, and I prefer the card we're about to talk about next. Yeah, so obviously Legion is not as big as Devil Dino. And that is a reasonable critique, and I would understand if someone wanted to say, you know, I don't really care about Legion, I just want the numbers here. But my theory of this deck is that you basically win when you can by, if you'll pardon my language, doing some bullshit. And that's what Legion's expertise is. I had a game with Legion where I legioned a bar with no name and then reality stoned that bar with no name. So every other lane was bar with no name except the one that I won with Legion and reality stone. There's no other card that's going to do that. There just isn't, right? And so, like, when I think of a deck like this, just like fundamentally what we're trying to do is just some bullshit. Just do some bullshit. Legion is perhaps the #1 some bullshit generator in the entirety of Marvel Snap. Mockingbird's basically a 0-9 a lot of the time in this deck. Like, at minimum, 3-9, and that's like when you're drawing really, really, really badly, or really good, depending on how you think about it, because that usually means you got a lot of your cards, and your cards are pretty good. But this card's ridiculous here. Flat out. Just awesome. So last time I had a video where I talked about Goliath, I made a fart noise. That was the joke, like, haha, everyone already knows about this card, let's do a fart noise. I will, I guess, talk about this card in a little bit of detail. Goliath is important, basically, specifically because we talk about these high-impact cards, right? And so you could do something like, maybe you want to blob in here, maybe that'll be bigger, maybe that'll matter. I haven't felt the necessity for that. What I want to do is just put as much fear into my opponent, I want to have as many weird options to screw my opponent over as I possibly can. And while Goliath is not necessarily a weird option to screw your opponent over, it sure is going to screw your opponent over when they're relying on stuff actually having text. I think it's easy to look at Thanos and be like, this makes no sense. I think the major overlaps here are very specifically like Wave and Mockingbird, that this card actually does make Arishem better in the context of using those. I really do not want to understate the Wave thing. Like, I don't think people realize that that is such a nut draw, but like, holy crap. This card is always in your hand. You don't pay a cost for it, and you can play it on turn 3 when you wave. It's ridiculous. It's a really, 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 really strong interaction that requires all of Wave, Thanos, and Arishem in order to make it happen, but like, that's just flat out dumb. And this deck is built on doing stuff that is just flat out dumb, and you're interested in that. Mr. Finger himself, Arishem, I am torn when it comes to how to feel about this card. I think a lot of people really hate this card, frankly, more than it deserves. And I think that this is a fun, enjoyable Marvel Snap card to play. I understand when people get upset losing to random generation. They just like don't really think that's a fair game, think that's a fun thing. But like, look, let's be honest. I've been playing a lot of Pokemon Pocket. I've lost to literal coins flipping, so I don't really have a huge issue with how Arishem plays, to be honest with you. I think this card is fun. I think it is exciting, but I also understand that people tend not to enjoy just getting BS'd out of the game. And for those people, I have some really bad news, because that's what this deck is doing. All right, y'all, thank you so much. As always, I've been KM Best. I hope you carry that big deck energy with you for the rest of the day. Thank you so much. Have a good one. You've been phenomenal. And let's get into the gameplay. Zabu's not bad here, I suppose. Fascinating. Don't go right is really all I need. Oh boy. Is it just Gamora left win Prio? The worry is that Gamora left, if they don't play left, won't win Prio. That's the problem. Okay, they did play left. This should win because everything they play now dies. So now even the thing they wanted to move to Death's Domain is going to die. Dead. It moves, but it dies. And dead. Which it moves, but it dies. Intriguing gameplay. Custom Eye Prodigy. Thank you for the prime. Ugh. Pretty chunky hand, but like one really actual playable card can really make the difference here. That's one really actual playable card. Into two more really actual playable cards. That's not great. That's not bad, though. They got any of my fives. Okay, well, those are definitely bad for them. That works for me, I think. You think Tyson performed bad because of his age? Yeah, I do. I do actually think that Tyson performed bad because of his age. Yes. He's fucking 8 billion years old, dude. Of course I think it was his age. Yeah, I mean, sick lane win, my dude. No room for a Baku. Holy fuck. Oh my god. Unfortunately, they'll retreat because of the main deck Reality Stone. Apparently not. We got tonight, Jones or Stipe? I mean, John Jones. Come on now. Do I wish it could be another way? Of course I wish it could be another way. Is it gonna be another way? I don't think it's gonna be another way. Unfortunately, I don't think it's gonna go that way. Oh my god, we just let them have a fucking free guy. Fuck. Devastating. What's the over-under on eye pokes? Gotta imagine it's pretty high. Sure. Okay, it wasn't Ultron. The only possible, like, there were not a lot of possible losses there to one card that was not named Ultron. Alright, which one is this? That's Butt. Alrighty. I'll draw some cards. Make Reality Stone World. Jeez. That doesn't sound right to me. This gets me the other stone. Chavez, Misery, better. Don't know why it would be. Can't think of anything that does more power than this. Can't figure out how I lose here. The answer is they figure out a way to win the right, maybe? And then also win the middle? I don't know. I feel like they need an amount of points here. What's Copycat? Falcon. We definitely don't play her. Oh, shit. That actually makes us live to win the middle now. Right? 12? Yeah, we go for a tiebreak win. Yep. I mean, I guess we just win everything, right? Glad we got him to stay. And only I do that, and that's basically only because I like, ew. Alright. Why are we playing Quicksilver in this? I'm a bad deck builder, you know what I mean? Just a really unfortunately bad deck builder. What are you? Oh, jeez. All right, I feel like they're gonna do Mysterio Monkey next turn, right? I don't know. Doesn't seem right. Whatever they did doesn't seem like the right thing to do to me. But I don't know where any of their points are anyway. So, you know. We could lose left mid, I think. Maybe. Sort of depends. Squatch. Yeah. Squatch Emberd type stuff. Losable. If they play 2 cards, they need to have less, like, okay, Mockingbird. Okay, not enough on the Sunspot. Alright, fair enough. Fair enough. We'll take them. Forgot about wait. Yikes. Not a great opener. That's usually pretty helpful, but in a deck like this, who the hell knows? It's getting better. So they have 22 cards in their deck. Unlike a Chad 27er. Why Thanos and Arishem? Maximum bullshit. Also, it honestly has seemed pretty okay. Yo, we're about to curve Surtur into Cull. You're asking why Thanos and Arishem? We're popping off. Not relevant at all, but okay. Perfectly acceptable. Oh, Jesus. You win? No? I mean, I feel good about it. But it's like... any, like, random Darkhawk type thing and I die, yeah? That's what we played around by just putting points here. We do win now. I'm a big fan of just points. It was a choice about, like, which end game card to play around, basically. Ew. Wait. Let's go, Pokemon. Gotta catch them all. True and real. Well, we're dead. If they're smart, they just play Magneto. They play Magneto in the middle, and we lose this lane. Because this costs... Wait, does Hercules move himself if he gets pulled by Magneto? No? Surely they just don't have Magneto. Uh-huh. Wait, that's actually not Magneto? Wait, whoa, whoa, whoa. Oh my god! Oh my god! Oh shit. It's fine. Okay. Great Web could have pulled that Goliath and lost me the game. I'm gonna calmly invite you to shut the hell up. Why did you even say that? Great question. What do you mean after turn 4 into the game? That's not an actual... Oh, God. So it's just going to be down to whatever's under that, which is nothing. Perfect. Perfect. But it does make me feel sad. Okay, those stones don't draw cards, which is a problem. Quicksilver. Hello. The stones no draw cards. Right. So, I mean, I don't think they beat out a cull here, but I suppose it's technically possible. They don't. I have an idea. Jesus Christ. This is the sneakiest, most evil bullshit of all time. My god, that's demonic. Like, this is just evil. This is just flat out fucking cruel. Like...